welcome back, guys, to the next episode of Inscription. Last we were here, we messed up against this one, which is one of the hardest little bosses here. Okay, let's see what we can do. Nothing spectacular, so let's go ahead and set this for conduit. I guess it's orange, so just attack our gems. And I have two friends fighting. A mummy lord. And there we go. That's the first round. I now need to make a card for somebody else. Mr. Fatmatic. Oh, okay. That's awesome. I paid attention to the forking of it. and draw another vessel. I'll slap down Moomy Lord. Okay. Roll our player field. Kills that one. Anyway. Normally you end up getting it because they can't send anybody. And I win. One of the more like enjoyable ones I have is this one because it's like you get to see weird stuff. Alright. I do. So now we're helping because of what he's done. Remember I was telling you about earlier about how I really wish you got more of like the real life versions of them? This is what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna talk much through this because this is actually a really good point. On purpose, we're gonna fight all of them too, so we're not running out of everything we need. Flying. That'd be one more. That's everything. So based off what this game's stating is they had it there. They had it pre-done. And now we're back at the beginning with Leshy. All he wants is such a game. That's all he wants. Possibly. No points. It's really sad thinking about it. You get shake Leshy's hand. He's gone. And there's the last one, Magnificus. Which personally, I have a personal reason why I love his so much. His is hard though. You actually losing his. They're based on how this is saying is they were all supposed to have their own, like they could have all had their own world that you did this through. You had your own experience, the new interactions. The dual disc. no problem with it. But at the end, it's not, you're not really supposed to do much. Just have to do this. You're a giant hand floating. And no, that is not my audio cutting out. That's actually the game doing that. That's proven there. Out of everyone, Magnificus is the one that didn't want to die and was wanting just to reset things to what this was supposed to be and fought it till the end. And very end just wanted to play a game and shake his hand, shake your character's hand. And now you're back as your little dude from the game. Old data. Okay. So, guys, that's actually everything. And if you pay attention to these 10 of 10, 10 11, 10 13, 10 16, 10 17, those are actually secrets that you can find in each act. So there's 5 acts. I found all 10 of them in the first act. I missed 1 in the second act. I missed 3 in the third act. I missed 6 in the Botopia part. And I missed 7 in the final part. I found one, which was the chest. I don't know past that. I guarantee there's probably a chunk of them in that part where you're running around like a little dude. But I will probably end up deep diving and trying to figure out what I'm missing. But I'm going to openly state that there's going to be a chunk you guys aren't going to be able to see that you're going to notice is cut out. I do not want that in the video due to the fact that there is violence of very high caliber in that scene. So for those who play this game and you watch this beforehand, be mindful that no one was actually injured. It's all fake. From my knowledge, the guy that the fake injury was done to is actually the developer of the game. Which, like I said, golf claps to the guy, the team that made this. This game is honestly extremely cool. I'd love to see a newer version of it come out, even though the game has no real way of saying there's a way of coming out other than the copies that were released. and seeing that there is you can go into not just Leshy's side or the PO3 side, but going into um, the I forget her name, but the undead lady and the mage guy. Basically, you get to experience their sides of how the world could have been. I'd love to seen that. Like you get a taste of it, and I loved it. Like playing on Leshy's side, it was very rustic and like um, almost nature vibe, which is basically how his whole shtick is. It's all beasts and whatnot. And then you have PO3 side, which is all robots, which is really cool. I've loved the scene having all the mage stuff on one side and all the crazy animations, the dual disc, which was from Yu-Gi-Oh, which I'm a big fan of. Obviously, if you're not familiar with where I am co-collaborating with MDDA, yeah, it was a huge nod to that. And then having the chess, I actually love playing chess, and that unique spin of it. That was a very, really cool way of introducing a different play style versus a card game. You have multiple avenues of how you go about it. With Leshy's, it's a little tabletop. You do your pieces, kind of like D&D, and then you get to a point and then something happens. And then with PO3 side, it's a legitimate, like, pick your adventure game where you get to go and move a little pawn around. It's similar to Leshy's, but more 3D, and it's futuristic, steampunky in a way. And then you have the Undead Lady, where it's a chess game, and you're moving your pawns around and pieces and all over, and you bump into something, and then something happens, and you have your card game, and then you go from there. And then even with, I would have loved to have seen how the world would have been and the mage guys, because you only get a little snippet. It's a dual disc. How are you gonna move around the world? Are you gonna move around as a person, or are you gonna have a very like RPG aesthetic? It'd have been really cool to see that kind of introduction to the game in two different scenarios that I personally would have loved to see. So that's really my only like criticism of the game is that there was more that could have been done in the sense of you've really fleshed out two of the four antagonists of the game. You could have made it to where you had Leshy's whole arc, and then you had the Undead Lady's whole arc, and then you had PO3. Had PO3 as a final boss, since this whole thing is about taking over, and then have it to where you had to go through the Magic Guy before PO3, and it was all fleshed out their own unique way of going about the game. The game could have been way longer, could have been way more in depth. Like mind you, this is my seventh recording, and that means I have about 7 hours. I beat this whole game from start to finish in 7 hours. Granted, I knew what I was doing. I knew what secrets to look for. I knew how to get certain things. I knew where to search. And there's still more secrets. There's still one secret in Leshy's place, which, mind you, there's two acts of Leshy, which means most of the game's there. Two fifths of the game is there, and then you have the 1/5 that's just the like actual old school game, and then you have PO3's whole arc, which is the second largest in secrets, and that takes I had what 3 hours to do. You could knock out Leshy's in two, this in one, three there, and this is the current episode of ours, an hour. So there was so much more effort put into PO3 because of the animation styles, the fact that they did 3D rendering. I'd have loved to see that in the other two. It would have made this game so much more drawn out, so much more fluid, and have more environmental storytelling, and adding little tidbits where you see Luke and his world and everything. It's I didn't show you guys any of them because I want you guys to play this yourself and experience the story of Inscription on its own. If they ever were to come out with an Inscription 2 and they flushed out more of these characters and their worlds and added more that they could have, or even a DLC or something, which I know this game's kind of older, but I remember it came out and it was so good. Markiplier played it, Jack played it, I think Das played it, and so many people enjoyed it. It was a hard game, it was difficult, and there's still more to do. I still can go and make videos on Casey's Mod. Which Casey Mod is all about playing in Leshy's side, and it adds more to the game, more decks you can earn, more play styles, more challenges, and it's hard. It's actually a difficult climb because you have to go through so much, and you can find out certain secrets in there and whatnot. It's I'm interested to see of how this goes about, if this game gets more love, if it goes further. I personally loved it. I played it once already. I fell in love with the game. I played it for days, and I enjoyed it. I want to sit down and make a video or videos of this to show that this game is something that I think everyone should give a chance because it tackles an itch for those who like play card games in a new environment. Like for Leshy said, like I said, it collaborates card games with a D&D board game. Then you have the old school like retro type of game that adds in the card aesthetic, which is in its own way retro. Like you got Nintendo DS playing early Nintendo DS, Nintendo Lite, whatnot, and you had to play like the old school Yu-Gi-Oh games or even whatnot else. And you get to the more steampunky, futuristic PO3 side, where it's all drawn out, flush. It's all high hues of blue and like very dark and decrepit, but still having increasingly good vibrant storytelling. And then you get the little tastes at the very end of everything. I really wish they'd drawn it out more on what you could see from the other gods of this game's whole world versus just two. That it made it so much more enjoyable to see the different aesthetics. Like as soon as you get to see the undead lady say, "Oh, I finally get to do a boss fight," and the next thing she pulls up a pirate face, oh, I was all for it, and then it just got taken away. That was a tease from no end, and I would have loved to see how that boss location would have been. Granted, it was similar to how Leshy does his, or even PO3 does his, the whole mask and the change, they did things, but to see how she would have done it in her way, I would have loved to be able to see that personally. And like I said, when I first played this, I did the bone playthrough, which her deck is extremely fun because it's all based off of bones, similar which you get a little taste for in Leshies. You don't really get to see that in PO3s. A whole system of how Leshy did his and how her deck is in here is completely thrown out for PO3. And then as soon as you get to here, you get that back. So it's a really cool aesthetic. And also, I'm a bit of like, I like horror stuff. So finding out you had an undead deck in this, I was all for it. I played it instantly. And it's just, I really wish they had more love for it. I guarantee that this was probably a labor of love in its own. And the person that created it, the team that made this, had a love for card games. Ironically, because there was the whole reference to Yu-Gi-Oh, the chess, the D&D board game aesthetic. It's just I love the absolute hell out of this game. I just really hope that those who watch this to get to this point, I really, really do appreciate you guys sticking around to watch the whole series. Get to this point. If you guys want to see more of this, I can do videos of Casey's mod. I typically play that on my own. But if you want to see more videos of Inscription, I'm more than happy to. I'll sit down and play some Casey's mod. If you guys want to see more of the secrets that I missed, I can look into figuring out what they are, and then I can bring you guys in and do a video of all of it, of what I did miss, so that you guys can have a visual representation of what I missed. Ooh, cut that out, yawn. Oh, from here. I just really would love to see more, and that's just me. I have a love for card games. Like I play Slay Spire, I play Yu-Gi-Oh, I play this. There's to me, it's just a bit of trip down from memory lane for me. I grew up doing this stuff, so I really guess that's where I have to cut it off right now. I really, really hate that to cut it off here because there's so much more I could do, but that's the end of the story. It's the end of the game. So, without further ado, guys, as always, Blackout 81, signing off. For your beautiful faces. I'll see you in the next series, in the next video. Bye bye.